Welcome to Down Home Horror, where we keep the hall lights on for you. I'm Alex,
I'm Amber.
and welcome to another very special episode of Shudder Sunday. Yay! We love it! And the reason we love it is because on our Shudder Sunday episodes, if you haven't caught them before, we take a movie that's either an exclusive or an original from Shudder, and we talk about it. But we keep it spoiler-free, we keep it bite-sized so that we can enjoy it on this lovely Sunday afternoon. We trade also who picks which movie, and this week it's my week. And I picked a good one this time. Like a really good one. It's called Brooklyn 45. It just came out this year, like a month or two ago. And here's the description, so that way you know what's up. Friday, December 27th, 1945. 5 military veterans gather in the ornate parlor of a Brooklyn brownstone. Best friends since childhood, they've reunited to support their troubled host. But when his invitation for cocktails turns into an impromptu seance, the metaphoric ghosts of their past become all too literal. Trapped in their host's lounge, the greatest generation now finds themselves put to one final test, with their only route to freedom being more bloodshed. You know, for once, I'm not upset about the summary. You know,
Me neither. That sums it up pretty good.
I would say I say yes, but also I was expecting more ghosts from it,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this ends up being, I say this as a way, not necessarily to spoil it for you, but so that way you can go into it with a better mindset of what to expect. It's much more like a psychological horror examining the horror that is humanity
Right.
than necessarily a seance. Like the seance is a big backdrop to it,
Yeah.
but it is at the core of what makes the movie scary, right? The reason I picked it in part, it was a ghost story. We know I like ghost stories. I like the color palette a lot, where throughout the movie it's pretty much green, red, brown, some golds to it, very earthy tones, and not quite like, I didn't feel like they were trying to take a picture with sepia tone on, right? It just adds this dingy warmth to it though that you don't usually see in horror movies, that I liked a lot. The other thing to note too, at least from a cinematic standpoint, is that if you think it feels stagey, like it should be done on a play stage, that is on purpose. I found out it is 100%. So the director, Ted Gilligan, I believe that's how we pronounce it. I looked up an interview because I felt like, okay, this has to be on purpose, right? Everything about this feels very purposeful. You are doing a chamber drama, a canned episode, if you will, where they're all pretty much, as soon as they are in the parlor, you don't go anywhere else. You were stuck in that parlor this entire time. And it's on purpose. He did it entirely on purpose. And he even said, like, this would be really cool if we did like an actual stage production of this at some point. But it was to make you feel just as trapped in the room as everyone else does. That's why you avoid flashbacks. That's why you don't really see anything else happening, is that he wanted you as the viewer to feel just as much part of the drama that was happening in the room. Yeah, and I think it was a good touch. I think it also provides a better foundation for a short horror film, for like lore drops, character development. There's something about a play production, right, that gets you through all the character stuff really quick.
Yeah.
But doesn't feel forced. But again, going back to the thing I said earlier, just so you go in with the right mindset, there is a lot of derogatory language, slurs being said. I'm not even going to caveat it, right? Just be aware that they are being said. Apologize for the cringy nature, but as we know, YouTube is YouTube. So if you have anything that you need to be warned about unaliving yourself, please keep that in mind as well. I would say it's pretty non-graphic. It's sudden. When it occurs, it's sudden. So just be aware, take care of yourself first. Not all horror is made for everyone. And if that's not your cup of tea, I totally understand. 110%. But within that, there is a lot of good discussion of like, there's a good quote that kind of comes up over again of, it doesn't make me any less of a man. Whether you're talking about being a soldier, whether you're talking about mental health, whether you're talking about who you have romantic partners with, there is this kind of continuing trend of, it doesn't make me any less of a man. And I really like that repeat dialogue. We could probably go into a whole speech about how horror, get your politics out of my cinema. But like, horror is inherently political in its own way.
And the reason I'm making this face, okay, is because if you've ever had a conversation with me, you know that one of my biggest gripes about people that love horror as much as they do is that they say that exact sentence that you just said: keep politics out of my horror movies. you've clearly never watched a horror movie. But that's neither here nor there. This is a damn good movie.
It's a damn good movie, and that's something for us to explore in another video, at least this concept of politics and horror.
Yeah.
I think what it did a really good job is the conversation of hate, and particularly blind hate, and how easy it is to fall into that trap. And the flip side of that too, how easy it is for good people to make mistakes that have lasting consequences.
Yeah.
And do those lasting consequences make you a terrible person? Or was it just a good person who made a mistake?
Yeah.
Right?
I really like the way they handled the dialogue when it came to the social commentary. It's not subtle to the point where you completely miss that this is what they're trying to say, but it's also not in your face to the point where they're like, fucking hear it, listen to it, live it, breathe it, eat it, etc. It's just done really well. It's like that very happy medium of what message are we trying to get across in this movie, and they just do a damn fucking good job at doing it.
They do. And this is a good example of using a time period to use it in a story, right? Rather than just having as a part of a piece of, like, again, the backdrop. It's on purpose we're talking about World War II. It's on purpose we're talking about World War II in 2023. Right? These are messages that are still being confused, spoken, taught, right? All the mix of them right now. But it makes it in a really consumable way. I agree. I don't think it was too heavy-handed at all. I think they got their message across, and that's the real talent. Sometimes it's too subtle, it's satirical. Sometimes it's too heavy-handed, and it hurts to watch.
Yeah.
This was a really good balance and a good way to convey the message, I thought.
Yeah. And like the ones that are too heavy-handed are the ones where most people check out really easily with, because it's kind of like you're being reprimanded for something. The way that a lot of, I've noticed, especially recently, cinema tries to give us a different perspective on what we're seeing in our real lives every day, but they do it to a point where it feels like we're being reprimanded for the choices that we make, the things that we say, the things that we think, and stuff like that. And that's not how you have a conversation with somebody, regardless of what their opinions are, because that's when you get people to just stop listening, is when they feel like they're in trouble for something. So this doesn't do that, and I really like that about it.
This is a movie I really would like for us at some point to do maybe one of our deeper dives on, but considering this is a Shudder Sunday movie, we're gonna keep it short. We're trying to tempt you to watch this movie.
Yeah.
I would say this is the best one we've watched so far. Like, if we did a bracket right now, this would be the winner.
Yeah.
Clear, obvious winner.
It's definitely one of my favorites that we've watched. There was two things that were talked about and were said that didn't really have a whole lot to do with the more obvious social commentary, but this one kind of ties into a video that we did recently about breaking down like a paranormal movie, where at the beginning they're talking about ghosts and paranormal and how people tell these stories about being able to talk to the dead just to give other people a sense of hope. And then they later talk about like faith is about what you can't see, and I really like the way they tied that concept into it. And then again, referencing our paranormal video, we were sitting in a room full of deniers, and look at what happened.
Look at what happened! Interesting!
Yes.
The whiteboard comes in clutch. When in doubt, refer to the whiteboard.
Yes. And the other thing that I really liked was when they were talking about like the pretty much the whole base of the story is like the idea that we didn't believe this person and what they were saying, but now that they've committed a very serious permanent act, we feel like as people who are guilty for not believing them, we have to take everything that they said as reality. And like you were saying, with like blind hate and stuff like that. And I think that that all just tied really, really well into each other.
There's this overarching concept of I had to do it, which is something we associate with World War II, Nazi authority psychology, right? I was told to do it by an authority figure, therefore I had to do it.
Right.
And I think they play on that element really well. Because there is something traumatic and scary about that. And how much agency do you actually take on that? And how much do you use it as an excuse? Right? It's a really good film, y'all. It really is. Man, there's so much I want to talk about.
Oh, I know.
Taking a step to the side real quick. I wrote this question down. And I think the answer is obvious, but I still want to ask you. Who do you think the main character is?
My main character was Archie, and I don't think that he is the main character, but he was the person that I paid so much attention to through the whole thing, because I feel like a lot of the, again, like social commentary ended up coming back to him in one way or another. I think it kind of came back to a lot of them, but his was kind of the story, I guess, that I was super intent and like focused on. I know that's the wrong answer, but I really liked that character. So
I purposely asked the question because I think there is a quote unquote obvious answer, but I could argue Archie. Like if this was a film crit class, right? I think we could probably sit here and have a debate of who was the real main character on it. Which I'm not gonna say who the real main character is. So that way you guys can go watch and enjoy and make your own decisions. But I'm honestly glad that when I said, hey, who do you think the main character is? I'm glad that you thought about it. Because there is enough character development across the board for you to at least question it. And particularly in an ensemble cast, like why does there have to be a main character? There's a main character. There's going to be someone who leads the pack. Right?
Yeah.
I do wish we would have gotten more about Paulie. I think he's the only character we really didn't get a good fleshed out idea of.
Right.
And I felt like he was the biggest caricature, even to the point of being in uniform. Like no one else was in uniform, right? And video about the symbolism of emptying America. I have a lot of feelings about this movie. So I think it's on purpose. I think it's on purpose when you know more about other characters than this one person.
Yeah. And there's one last thing that I have to bring up.
By all means. Yeah.
Because it's me. Hi.
Hi. Where's the bingo board? Did you have it ready?
The practical effects in this, for the little bit that there is, are super fun. They're fun. I liked them. They're not like over the top and they're not terrible. No. They're fun and they look really good for what image they're trying to get across, and I really liked them a lot.
I'm so glad. The ones that comes to mind, again, I'm glad that I know you well enough at this point that I'm like, Amber's loving this. Like, I always mark that down in my notes. I'm like, this is the part that Amber's loving. But I'm glad that I wasn't also off the mark and thinking like those were really good practical effects.
I like them a lot.
It was just so good. It was well staged. The cinematography of it was beautiful. The close-ups, the cuts, like the cut shots, the color scheme for it all. It was all so well and lovingly crafted.
Yeah. Like, we've obviously done a few Shudder Sundays at this point, and I think that this is the one that this is one of the ones that just kind of really stands out as something special. I think that everyone that we've watched so far had something special about it, and that like Scare Package, for example, I think was probably, until this one, easily my favorite. For multiple different reasons, but this one just in general is just really fucking special. And after watching it and having this conversation, we're gonna do a longer episode on it.
Perfect. Good. That means I can save all my other bigger thoughts for a much bigger video. My final thoughts on this, twofold. Point one, the ending had me literally saying, oh my god, out loud. This was a movie that, again, you go into it thinking, I know what this is going to be about. And then it's not, and the best way possible. And I was so surprised by this film overall, which I think that is articulated throughout this video. But the fact that I literally went, oh my god, like out loud, an empty room to the TV, so powerful. that being said, the feeling you're going to have after that oh my god moment is, why did I watch this movie? And I want to warn you about that, because remember, everything we've said, everything about this has been so purposeful. Sit with that discomfort. Think about why it's ending that way. And I think you'll get a lot more out of the ending first going, God, this was, whoa, why did I watch this? Trust me, just sit with it and enjoy the discomfort. And I think you'll grow to really enjoy the ending too. But that's all I got for now. Come back for a video essay that's 2 hours long. Shit. But that's just it for this Shudder Sunday. We do them every other Sunday, and that means next time it's Amber's pick. What did you pick?
Okay, so I don't know if you'll remember, but in our Vicious Fun video, I said that I refuse to be a fucking cliche and pick another slasher movie. So I scoured Shudder, as I do, and I picked one that wasn't in your face, spooky, scary, ghost haunted house. Maybe, I'm not entirely sure. I haven't watched it yet, so I don't know. It might be. But it's called Deadstream, and I've heard a lot of people talk about it. But Deadstream came out last year in 2022, and the synopsis on Shudder reads: Deadstream follows a disgraced internet personality who tries to win back his followers by live streaming himself at an abandoned haunted house. When he accidentally unleashes a vengeful spirit, his comeback event becomes a real-time fight for his life. So, I did it. I did the thing. I did the thing. This isn't a slasher, guys. Okay, I have variety.
But is it a comedy?
This is the thing, okay? I saw, I mean, from that synopsis and every other, well, I shouldn't say every other, but I've seen a few, I'm a YouTube personality, haunted, scary stuff movies that are in some way, shape, or form comedic, because the whole idea of the social commentary behind these YouTube or live stream personalities is to make fun of them. So it's in some way, shape, or form comedic. So there was one review that I read that said a comedy, but that's all that the review said. So thank you to Shudder user who just said a comedy.
Period. Killer. What a person.
So I guess we'll find out, because I other than what's on the synopsis, I know nothing about this movie. So I'm excited to watch it, and hopefully it's more of purposeful satire than it is a full-blown horror comedy. Because if it's a full-blown horror comedy, then I'm just picking the same shit every week at this point.
So, again, to be fair, this was on my list. Probably about a month ago at this point, I went through and made a master list of like everything I want to watch pretty much within the next, I don't know, year for our Shudder Sundays.
Right.
And this was on my list. This came real close to being picked once or twice beforehand. And I watched the trailer for it. And my memory of the trailer is, it's not like scary movie funny, right? But like inherently, like you said, with the YouTube personality, there's this level of absurdity to it. So I'm also curious if it's going to be really campy and scary movie scary, or if it's going to be more just camp, right? I guess like there's going hard, and then there's kind of just trying to make a point about YouTubers being self-indulgent, right? But I'm glad that you picked this.
I'm excited.
Very excited to watch it.
I'm coming out of my box of slashers.
Come to my side.
You're next.
I know. That means next time I have to pick a slasher. Gosh. If you're excited to watch it too, or if you want to come and watch Brooklyn 45, which I know you do at this point, what you can do is go ahead and check out Shudder.com. They offer a 7-day free trial. Do they sponsor us yet? No, but we hope that they do someday. We just really believe in everything that they're doing over there. Great website, easy to use, plenty of content to watch, and at the very least, you can be ahead of the game. when it comes to our Shudder Sundays. And you can join in the conversation, whether it be on our Discord, which there's a link for our Discord, or you can put something in the comments. Either which way, we'd love to hear from y'all. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe, because guess what? We've officially hit 100 subscribers, which means we didn't ever announce this, but guess what? We had a little personal goal that once we hit 100 subscribers, we were going to do, drum roll, merch! Yay, merch! So you can find that in the link in the description. Right now, it's our logo. If you want it on a t-shirt, you can have it on a t-shirt. You want it on a coffee mug? Boom, mug, stickers. So there's a bunch of stuff that you can go and snag and go and rep. We did our best to make sure that we could keep it at a low, affordable price while still helping out the podcast. So we did our very best to make sure that we can make it affordable for everyone. And hopefully you get to, rep us a little bit. Wander around town. Show it off. Go to the office with your mug. I don't know. There's plenty of stuff to do. So please be sure to check that out. But not least, because at this point, our outro is almost as long as our video is. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, but also maybe not on Twitter. The bird is singing, folks, and we are trying to diversify the best that we can to make sure that we stay on the hip side of things. By that, we now have an Instagram, so be sure to follow us at Down Home Horror on Instagram. Follow us on Discord. For now, I think we're still posting on Twitter. Granted, that might change between the time that we record and the time this releases. So at the very least, be sure to be hanging out in our Discord so that we can catch anything that might get missed along the way. Well, and so until next time, be sure to check under your bed for monsters, because I can't.
And I won't.
Bye.
Bye.